Hey everybody, welcome back to No More, No Less. I'm Michael Chikeen, and today in the virtual studio, I have with me Dr. Bruce Chalmer. Dr. Chalmer is a psychologist who has been working with couples for over 30 years. Through his teaching, consulting, and books, his ideas have helped thousands of couples and their therapists. Together with his wife Judy, Dr. Chalmer hosts the podcast Couples Therapy in 7 Words. He's the author of 3 books, Betrayal and Forgiveness, How to Navigate the Turmoil and Learn to Trust Again. It's not about communication, why everything you know about couples therapy is wrong, and reigniting the spark, why stable couples lose intimacy and how to get it back. Today, we're going to dive into the ideas of betrayal and forgiveness. But before we do that, I've got a couple of warm-up questions for the good doctor. So without further delay, Dr. Bruce, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
One thing I want to ask that I was thinking about, and because I've discussed this with a bunch of friends, married and otherwise, and people in their lives, and how do you get a reluctant partner or a reluctant anyone to try therapy? Because a lot of people say men, but I've heard many occasions where there is a spouse or a mother or a sister or that also doesn't want to go to therapy. So how do you get a reluctant person in your life to try therapy?
Well, Michael, for the benefit of your viewers and listeners here, I did not plant that question for you, but I could have, because I actually have a video on that very topic, a rather, I think sort of a funny video on that topic. It's actually a subtitle or a chapter in one of my little booklets besides the 3 books you mentioned. I also have a couple of booklets out. One of the chapters of that is, and it is focused on men, how to get the reluctant guy in your life to go to therapy. And right. But I think there are some particular issues I think apply to men, but I can also apply it more broadly. The general principle in answering that question, it doesn't tend to work well. Well, let me modify that. It can work fine to sort of coerce somebody into doing it. Do you know what I mean? You can say, I insist you go to therapy or I'm going to divorce you. I mean, often that's what happens. It's, that's an ultimatum, but I respect it. It's like, if that's how you feel, that kind of makes sense. But it often works better, I think, when you recognize that somebody being reluctant to go to therapy is not crazy. Somebody having misgivings, it always works better when you're working with somebody who has misgivings about something to try to understand where they're coming from. Because it's not merely being ornery, it's not merely being oppositional. It probably has a valid basis. And, when I talk about it, especially with guys, we men as a group, stereotyping somewhat, but here we are, we tend to worry that the therapy world is much more oriented toward women than toward men, because in a lot of ways it is historically.
Sure.
We worry whether the therapist is male or female. We tend to worry that, this therapist is going to side with the woman, not the man, if it's a heterosexual couple. Those aren't crazy worries. We worry that, oh my God, we're going to go to therapy and she's going to divorce me. I say again, saying she or he is going to divorce me. We have all sorts of worries, some of which maybe we don't know what they're going to be. And if somebody in your life, you want to go to therapy with them or you want to invite them to go to therapy and they're resisting, what often is the most effective thing to do is to inquire, is say, gee, tell me what's going on for you, because, I know you're not crazy. You probably have good reason for your worries. And then you see where that goes. And when you actually can recognize that often invites the other person to say, well, let me understand why you want me to, because maybe I don't have to be so reluctant.